What's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things health, including these low carb diets. Now, if you hear the popping and crackling, I'm making some pork belly snacks. Yeah. But with that said, I want to talk about the thing I'm most concerned about, which is not why I sound nasally. I got my fence finished. About did my body in to do it too. 10 acres, a lot of it by myself. So I just pushed my body too hard. But let's get into it. What you're not supposed to do. It's the electrolytes. The electrolytes are the problem on low carb diets. People do not understand. They become so chronically dehydrated. Carbs make you hold on to water. Carbohydrate. Okay, so with carbs, your body is able to hold on to sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium a lot more easily than if you were to just eat carbs. If you ate carbs, you would be fine. If you had the right nutrient balance and high mineralized foods like pork, which is going to have sodium and potassium, or avocado for potassium, or supplemental magnesium, or magnesium chloride on the skin, magnesium glycinate that you would consume. Now, the reason why I keep talking about potassium is because it's so freaking fascinating, and magnesium. People who fail, it's not just eating too much protein and not enough fat. The real problem is the danger of the heart from doing keto or carnivore without making sure over time that you're balancing your electrolytes. There is a reason why Paul Saladino started eating fruit on carnivore. There is a reason why Frank Tufano, developed high iron and issues, and it almost like wrecked his health to do strict carnivore. A lot of you people are not, like, you're so dogmatic and so obsessed with these diets. Like, people do this with veganism. You have to look at your existing health. Some of y'all can't do this shite. Some of you can do it. Like, I did keto for 5 years before I hit any problems with my electrolytes. So if I was 4 years into it, you'd be like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. Energy! Which I always had the energy. But I didn't talk about the muscle cramps, the rib cramps, the face twitching, the nausea. These are some of the things that I developed that I didn't know. I didn't talk about it because I didn't understand what this was coming from. So let's go more into it. Let me pull up an image here. Okay. I want you guys to look at what your cells are looking like when you're dehydrated, when you're balanced, or when you're overhydrated. This is a problem. A lot of you guys are drinking gallons and gallons and gallons of water. Then the cells, they become overhydrated. They don't hold on to water very well. So you're still dehydrated, drinking a shite ton of water. And y'all aren't balancing your electrolytes. Whoa, here we are. Okay? That's Redmond's real salt. It's my favorite salt. Really good quality salt. Let's get more into this here. So you can see that when you're dehydrated, this is what your cells look like. Your body tends to pull the fluid outside, pulls the fluid from the inside of the cell to the outside of the cell. That's when that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, so when your body's starting to pull fluid from inside of the cell to outside of the cell to try to find some kind of desperate balance, these are the types of things you might notice. Muscle weakness, okay? You might notice things like lactic acid buildup when you're trying to work out. You'll have your calf might lock up, or you notice that your face starts twitching. Numbness of the fingertips. You guys might be thirsty, even if you're drinking a ton of water, like I said. We've got the whole exhaustion, the spike in freaking blood sugar when you don't have enough sodium potassium balance. I'm telling y'all. Okay, we've got stress is one of the things. People don't recognize stress. When your adrenals are stressed out, okay, this impacts aldosterone. And when you're having issues with aldosterone, you can't hold on to your minerals. It's crazy. You guys will just dump potassium. And when you dump potassium, you're risking your health massively. I talk to people that are like, do I really have to eat avocado? Do I really have to mind my electrolytes? I'm like, if you don't mind your electrolytes, not only can you damage your kidneys with eating all that protein being dehydrated, but you can damage your heart doing carnivore or keto over time. Now, I had a woman today, a consultation. She's like, Stephanie, she's like, I really like you, but I don't like when you're calling out people. And I'm like, well, I'm not really calling out people. I don't say the names, but I get so angry. And I said, what do you do when you have people coming in with kidney damage? Because somebody said, eat as much protein, just go for it in the beginning, not checking out somebody's ability, their kidney levels of their GFR, their filtration rate. They're not checking out to see if their kidneys are filtering properly. You don't have enough fluid, you have protein byproducts that get stuck, waste products in the kidneys, low function, and if your liver is functioning poorly, which so many of you have lower functioning liver on this diet, but you don't know it because nobody's talking about it. I mean, there are people who talk about the body systems and stress, but they're not connecting it to doing a keto or carnivore diet. Okay, gastritis. If your potassium starts getting too low, this is affecting the acidity, your pH levels, right? Your hydrochloric levels. And when they drop, there's no barrier. The mucus lining is compromised. You start having gastritis in your digestive tract. When you don't have enough potassium, you can't digest food very well. So many of you guys are experiencing either loose stool or constipation on carnivore or keto. And then they'll say it's normal. Oh, if you're not pooping, you're just like using all the protein. It's just stuff to just nonsense. Okay. If you guys are having extreme cramps in the day, you're most likely potassium and magnesium deficient. Especially potassium, if you're having locked up cramps at night, that's severe magnesium, specifically magnesium. Note. Okay. Let's keep it rolling. Let's see here. I was talking before about low potassium and high blood sugar. And a lot of you guys just can't understand why your blood sugar is so jacked because you're not purposely and strategically knowing how much sodium potassium you're taking in per day. And people ask, well, how much? And I'm like, everybody's freaking different. Everyone. Avocado has more potassium than a banana, twice the amount. But people feel instantly better on a banana because of the fructose is making your cells swell up with fluid. So you feel better, but you're going to actually get more potassium from an avocado if you can tolerate it. And of course, other foods. Meats like pork, some fish, some shellfish have good, really fair amount of potassium. Let's see here. Menstrual cycles. When you guys are doing, first of all, it's a couple things. First of all, if you don't have enough potassium, your blood sugar could spike. Second of all, when you have your menstrual cycle, your blood sugar spikes, and then it gets really high when you're low potassium. Third of all, low potassium creates heavy periods. So if you're going to do low carb, carnivore, or keto diets, you must balance your potassium and your sodium and your magnesium and your water intake. Period. Okay. The brain fog. It's not just candida. It's not just your thyroid. These are also reasons why people, they'll have a thyroid flare up, they'll drop their T3 on carnivore, and then they don't know it, or they just don't balance their sodium potassium and they can't think. The cells cannot communicate properly. They cannot. Okay. Your gut bugs, your acid levels, your stomach acid, that drops when you're low potassium. And then candida, parasites go to freaking town just because your potassium is low. So you cannot get it just from meat. Although I think I'm burning my bacon. Let's hold on. Let me turn it off. I'll be back. Get my heat back on. All right. Ooh, H. pylori infections increase with low potassium. And so many of you guys are having issues with your gallbladder and your kidneys because you're chronically dehydrated. When you eat such large amounts, hi guys, when you guys are eating such large amounts of protein, there's no common sense to this. Okay, you have to know what's going on with your existing health when you're doing carnivore or ketogenic diet. You cannot slam all that protein down. The electrolyte balance is not a joke. Like I said, over time, if you do this for years, you can damage your heart. You have to be purposeful when you're doing carnivore with the amount of protein that you're consuming. What is your GFR? I'm not asking about your cholesterol, your GFR, your blood pressure, right? Because if you don't have enough sodium, if your potassium's too low, you could have low blood pressure. If you could have high blood pressure because you guys cannot regulate the pump of sodium and potassium in and out of the cells. And then you have a drop in aldosterone and a spike in adrenaline and cortisol, and the blood pressure spikes on carnivore or it rebounds. So some people notice like they become, but the biggest problem that I've noticed when people don't manage their electrolytes is low blood pressure. I mean, you can't make this up. And if you ever feel nauseated or weak at the gym, you know, a lot of guys were like, oh, I'm losing my pump. No, you can't. So first of all, you can do strict carnivore, but people are not purposeful. They don't organize. Like, here's my sodium, here's my potassium, here's my magnesium, here's my adrenal homeostasis, here's my GFR, here's my liver function, here's how many cycles of sleep I'm getting. This is how much HCl I have. Do I have a parasitical infestation? Do I have candida? Can I regulate my blood sugar? Because if you can't, eating all that protein is going to make everything worse. And when you're dehydrated because you're not minding your minerals, then you have problems with your kidneys. And then you start having problems with your gallbladder. How many people doing these diets are having Hashimoto's? Count them. There's a few. There's like 3. Especially on carnivore. Hashimoto's. How many people have Hashis? Be very careful, you guys. Right? It's a bunch of things you have to balance. It's not just, do not take these products. Do not take Element. Do not take Keto Chow. Now, the best one is the Dr. Berg product, but to be honest, I prefer that you try to get the most of your electrolytes from food. From the sea, from the earth, from your meats. you have to work your ass off. Like, people are like, do I really have to try to find grass fed? Do I really have to, eat every couple of hours? Do I really have to hit 200 grams of fat? The reason why people are not successful on these diets is because of the unwillingness to learn on how easy it is to jack up your health if you don't learn what your existing health is. I keep asking people, what is your hemoglobin A1C? People don't know. So I do have a sponsor called Let's Get Checked, and they do GFR, glomerular filtration rate, which is the rate at which your kidneys can filtrate fluid to see if you're getting protein byproducts getting stuck there. I'm starting to get more and more women developing gout on carnivore. Some people don't know that they're experiencing anything. I didn't know that I was experiencing magnesium deficiency on keto until the 5th year. So be very, very careful when people say, like, oh my God, no, this guru did this and they're amazing, right? Well, then why did Paul Saladino have problems? And you know that they were having problems the whole time they were saying they were fine. Even Carnivore Yogi had problems. Tons, kidney, thyroid. People are having problems. So it's really hard, I think, for gurus to sit and have to break down the 20,000 different ways to know what your existing health looks like before you do something like a carnivore diet. Because you can jack your shite up. Gnarly jack your shite up. If you're doing carnivore and you refuse to eat plants, you best find a matrix. You best balance your electrolytes, especially that potassium. Because if you're not getting potassium from some of these plants, which are loaded in potassium, you best look. And what if you have a histamine reaction to seafood? How are you going to get enough potassium in? You have to eat enough fat. You have to adapt. You have to manage your blood sugar. You have to follow circadian rhythm. You have to ground yourself. It's not just eating a diet. Eating a diet is just a pinch of how to be healthy or lose weight or get strong or lift or whatever. There's so many varying factors to your hormones, to your minerals, to your micronutrients. Are you absorbing these freaking minerals? What's going on with your gut? What's going on with motility? What's going on with the state of your liver? So this was just a little, be careful for your electrolytes. You lose them very easily on keto and carnivore. And the longer you do it, the worse it gets. So if anybody says that they're fine and they don't need to find supplementation for their electrolytes and they can just get it from meat, they're either like dumb, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, like naive, like dumb naive, let's contextualize it, or they're lying. Okay? Because we're not hunter-gatherers. Modern humans are fracked up. With those holes in your gut wall, you just lose minerals. Or what about people who are eating all that red meat and their iron levels get too high and it's dangerous? Be careful for the protein. And watch your gallbladder when you start going more to fat. There is no eat as much as you want in the beginning of the first stage of priming. That doesn't exist. Okay? Some of you guys have such low stomach acid and the inability to absorb your nutrients properly. And then there's that whole, look at that image, there's the whole dehydration problem. Look at that. This is what's happening to a lot of you guys on carnivore. All right, more to come, guys. I want to go more into the psychology of people. You guys do not understand that the first couple years of your life, you've already been programmed. You've been brain soaped. Yeah. And so your perceptions of reality tend to be slightly subjective. I know that because I moved to the country from Hollywood, California. Right? The first time I skinned a deer, I was like, "Oh my God, you're holding this stiff leg I'm peeling off the fur, and I'm like, that's like my horsey. The air that you breathe, how you breathe air at night, how you sleep, the dirt, the bacteria. There are so many people who say they can't. I can't quit coffee. I can't eat liver. That's a sign of a weak human. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, people are like, oh, I don't want to sound judgmental. Like, we've got to learn how to be straight and honest, because you can't evolve with a lie. You can't learn or grow or expand if you're constantly being pacified with what makes you feel safe. Life is always feeling on the edge of not safe. That's a true hunter-gatherer. I want to do a video again showing what the different cultures look like, what a true hunter-gatherer looks like with a good gut motility, and they can actually take a crap that's not diarrhea or half floating. Be careful, guys. Be careful on how you consume fat because of the gallbladder. Make sure you've got enough hydrochloric acid in your stomach. And by all means, watch those electrolytes, because if you don't, you can damage your heart over time. Real talk. And then this fracks up your hormones. It's all connected. All right. If you guys want to learn more, go to stephanieperson.com, book a consultation. I'm working right now on, I really, really, really would want to do it February 1st, but I'm not going to make it. I'm going to do a challenge. It's an educational challenge. And for those who are still asking about my book, yes, I'm almost done. I'm not going to rush, because I learn every day, as you guys can see with my latest videos, and I want to pack it. In fact, I'll probably do a series. I'm updating all my plans, so get ready for that. And I'm putting my course on my website, and it's a lot of work. I'm living on raw land with no water. I got a power pole. I've got no septic system. I live in a camper that's like cardboard box. My heat went out when it was 3 degrees minus 0, and I'm coming from California. I did most of 10 acres of putting up a fence. Uh, yeah, I've been kicking my freaking ass. But you know what? The level of humanity that I feel being outside most of the day, you can't. To go from Hollywood to the country, and you can eat your own food and hunt your own food, y'all need to crawl out of the mates and the tricks. Life is so much deeper than you guys realize it. Don't believe the hype. And I gotta go. Comment below. Tell me more of what you guys want me to talk about. My ass is 55, and I can't wait to turn 56 or 60 or 1,000 and keep your freaking kidneys safe from chronic dehydration and protect those adrenals so you can still build some muscle as you get older, being strict keto. And if you're going to do strict carnivore, just eat high fat, get a matrix, and get enough potassium. Peace. Energy. And I'm out.